Morning folks, Justin from Tackle Tactics out on the water with my dad Ron. We're out here on a nice crisp winter's morning, but we have dodgy tides. We've got less than a metre of water movement between the high and the low. They say no run, no fun. So we're going to slow things down and we're going to fish the Ned Rig. So stay tuned, we'll talk about the jig heads, the plastics and how we're fishing these, and hopefully we can get ourselves a few fish. Let's get on with it. All right, good looking bank here, birds feeding. Fish can't get up on that weed there. There's a little bit of tide dropping out, so the fish will be sitting on that edge. We're kicking things off with, I've got a 2.5 inch TRD craws, and you're on the prawn, Dad, 2.5 inch prawns. We're fishing 1/6 and 1/5 ounce heads, and we're just going to get them in and hop them on that weed edge. We just got to work out where that weed ends, and then we can make our cast to the edge of the weed. Yep. Man, I shook him on, hey? Only a little fella, but geez, he wanted it like shaky, rattle. There we go, and he's nailed that. 2.5 inch TRD craws. Just a little bloke, but some fish in the boat. Just shaking that TRD craws across the bottom. Orange head, greasy prawn coloured TRD craws. On a tide like this where there's not a lot of tidal movement, good areas to look for are where the tide is pushing. So here we've got tide, what tide is left here pushing up against this bank. That's all weed covered over there. The water's pushing in onto this bank. So there will be some water movement here, which will bring bait to the fish and will hopefully hold a few fish on this edge. Yep. Oh no. Another pocket rocket. They definitely want it really slow and twitchy today on this tide, like it's got to talk them into it. He's on there, little fella, but if little fella will eat it, big fella will eat it. Oh, he's pinned. Come on, mate. There we go. See you, little buddy. He's away. I'm gonna throw a prawn. Try a different colour. They might want this nice natural colour. If they do, and we'll change it up a bit. I think we'll keep creeping up in here a little, Dad, and just see. Yeah. Couple of pelicans up in there. That's got to be a positive sign. Oh, just cast on top of one. I didn't even wind that, just flicked it out and he ate it. He liked the slow fall on that prawns on the 1/10 ounce head. Drilled it. Better one? No. Drilling the little fellas at the moment. It's got to be a bigger one in amongst them somewhere. See you, mate. That didn't take much effort. Just had to cast him, wind him in. Has he got any mates with him anywhere?
You can use now.
Yeah. Yep, there we go.
On.
Oh, off. Oh. I think there's a few little brim up here on this flat playing around. Yep, on that time. Oh, that feels a bit better. That's that 2.5 inch prawns in opening night. Oh yeah, that's a nice one, Dad. It's a good looking fish. Beautiful fish. Just fishing that finesse system, that Ned Rig. Oh, he's going to chew me off that one. Here he comes. Oh no, he's got it just in his lip. In the net. Beautiful. Nice work, Dad. Righto, that switch works, so we might switch you over to that opening night colour as well, Dad. That's a beautiful colour in this winter clear water. So as we said, it's going to be a tough bite today with that lack of tidal movement. So we've slowed things down. We're fishing that Ned Rig system. So I've got a 1/10 ounce head on there. 1/10 ounce head. Oh, sorry buddy. Oh, he's cranky, eh? That's that 1/10 ounce NedlockZ, TT NedlockZ heads in green pumpkin colour. 2.5 inch prawns, opening night colour, beautiful in this winter water. And that's a nice flatty. We normally keep ourselves one for dinner, so we might do that. Mum and Dad here for dinner, so we might keep that one for dinner. I'll put him on the ruler. I think he'll comfortably be around that high 40s. 40. Yeah, up in the over the 40s. 40. About 53, 54, so not a bad flatty to kick things off. We've got those three little guys first up, and then this nice mid 50s, so that's a beautiful flatty. Mid 50s flatty. Just fishing that Ned Rig on this tide where we've got that lack of flow. Righto, with that clear winter water, we've switched that over to the opening night colour. I reckon that little bit of that translucent look and that little bit of flash and sparkle in there definitely catches their attention in this clear winter water. Put a bit of Procure on there because it is not much tidal movement, slow fishing, so slow things down, scent things up, and fish on. Yeah. Alright, retrieve wise with the Ned Rig, I'm just allowing the plastic to sink to the bottom, and I know that's going to be standing upright with that NedlockZ head on there, so I can just shake it and drag it. I'll generally fish it slower than I will with a standard jig head, so I'll shake it, I'll drag it, hop it, just anything to give it a little bit of movement on the bottom there, and then just give it time to settle and stand up again. Hits will often come when you're pausing it after some movement, so just keep an eye on the line, just feel for that bite, watch for it and feel for it, and if you get even the slightest tap, whack it, because it can be a big fish just inhaling that little Ned Rig. Perfect, the NedlockZ in that size 1 that we're fishing. Dad's fishing a 1/5, I've got a 1/10 on here, just fishing it a bit slower, and that size 1 hook fits perfectly in all your 2.5 inch ZMan finesse sort of plastics like the ST grubs, prawns, TRD bugs, TRD craws. So those sort of 2.5 inch to 3 inch sort of plackies, 3 inch slim swims. Great little system just for slowing things down and really working over an area. Oh yep, fish on.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, just picked it up off the bottom while it was settling there. Little fella in the net. There you go. Well, he's spat that out, so that's why you don't pole him in, put him in the net. Where he is. He's given that leader a chew up as well, so remember to check your leader after each flatty, and I'll retie that leader. That's another little flatty in the net. He just picked it up while it was settling on the bottom. Starting to find a couple anyway, so he's just under that bloke. But there you go, that's another flatty fishing that little Ned Rig plastic. So 1/10 ounce head, and that's a 2.5 inch ZMan prawns, opening night colour. Check out that in the light, beautiful sparkle and flash. Fish on. Yep. Oh yeah, slow hop. Only little fellas though, Dad.
Oh.
Not finding the big ones, but they're picking up that plucky on the slow hop. Wait, what's going on there? Another little bloke eating that prawn. Bit harder work to get the bigger ones to bite on these slack tides, so we'll just keep persisting. See if we can stir them up. Yep, up on the weed. Just fishing that weed edge. It's a cracker brimbo, mate. It's not a bad brim. Picked up that Ned Rig up on the weed edge there. We've had a couple of bites from these guys, I reckon, along the way, but there you go. He's taken that 2.5 inch prawns on that 1/10 ounce Ned Rig. Not a big brim, but good fun. Flicking up on that weed edge. Fish on. Yell out if you've had enough of battling the wind and you want to come down here again. Yep. Easy fishing down here. That was a nice flatty and I just shook him off.
Oh.
What a buffhead. Went a bit too hard. Hey, fish on. Nice work, mate. Ned Rig up over the weed. Just hopping it out slowly. Come down and join you. How's that drag sound? Pretty good, eh? What do you got there?
Flatty.
No? Is it? Yeah? Yeah, flatty, yeah. It's a nice one. Up over the weed. Here she comes. What's that, donk? She's not finished yet. They're fired up for winter, eh?
Yeah. Coming around. Get away now.
I might come and get her over this side, eh? We'll let the flow bring it down. Righto, she's still hugging the bottom, still angry. Here we go, she's coming up. That's a nice one, Dad.
Yeah.
I'll just let a bit of line out there.
That's the one I've been after all.
Yeah, that's the one you've been working for, eh? That's a cracker.
We've been looking for that one all morning.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a good fish. Alright, folks, there you go. So that was Ronnie on that fish there. That's a nice fish. That's on that 1/5 ounce in a green pumpkin colour in that NedlockZ jighead, size 1 hook, and that 2.5 inch. So once we cracked a pattern and found the fish wanted that opening night colour, we switched Ronnie over as well, and he's got that nice fish. Well done, Dad. Cracker fish. I'll put him on the measure for you. So there you go. That is a nice 57 centimetre flatty on that Ned Rig system. So if the tides are no good, the fishing's tough, don't forget to give that Ned Rig a go. Beautiful. All right, there you go. Sometimes it can take switching to a presentation that you fish a bit slower, a bit softer, a bit lighter, a bit more finessey to get those better fish to bite. And on a tide like this where there's not a lot of flow, that Ned Rig system definitely comes into its own. That natural buoyancy of the ZMan elastic plastic, boom, makes that rapid stand up. So your presentation looks like it's fleeing or it's foraging, and then boom, rapid stand up like a defensive pose or like it's feeding on the bottom. So it looks realistic right throughout the retrieve, so it's fishing for you the whole time. That was a good flatty, Dad. I couldn't really see it too well when you were fighting it, and I was thinking, geez, it's playing up.
Yeah.
It's giving you a bit of stick, and no wonder.
I couldn't put any more on it. There was a bit of weight in him. Like he might only be
He's
in the 50s.
He's 57, but oh yeah, there we go. Finally made that one stick. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, he's angry. Might just spot lock us there and we can have a bit more of a flick there. In the net, you beauty. Good work, Dad. That'd be illegally. He scoffed that prawn. So there you go. We're just, that tide's turned. We're drifting with that incoming tide. So we're kind of trying to hold position. The wind's blowing across the tide, so it's a bit awkward. So we're basically just trying to hold position on one edge so that we can effectively fish this bit of a drain and the other edge there. And we're picking up a few flatties, so it's been a good session. It'd be just on legal, I think. So we've had a couple just on legal and a couple in the 50s and a bunch of little fellas. So good fun, especially on one of those tides where you at times cannot catch any fish. So I'll get that guy sorted, get him back in the water. Yep, right up in the shallows. That time he feels like a little tacker. Yep, I've pulled all the small ones out of the shallow side, bigger ones on that deeper edge. Hey, just finding the pattern. You know, we changed plastics a little bit early and then we settled on this 2.5 inch prawns in opening night. Deadly color, especially in this clear water, and we've cracked a pattern in terms of sort of where the fish are holding. Shallower edge, smaller stuff dropping on, and we've got those two bigger fish, those 50s fish sitting in that deeper water over on that deeper edge. So just a matter of working it out and cracking a pattern, then you get to enjoy catching them. Oh no! That is the Ned Rig at its prime. That would have just got to the bottom and would have been floating along with its tail up in the air. Bang, drilled. And there was no mucking around there. He just ate that. That would have been slowly moving with the flow. Silver, I think, Dad.
Yes.
I'll just swing him in. That is the grunter. He's too small, but that's the Ned Rig doing its thing. Sunk to the bottom, sitting tail up, floating along with the current, looking like it's feeding in the bottom or foraging around, and this guy just absolutely clunked it. If he was a flatty, he would have been a cracker, but he's not. Well, that's okay, we don't mind a bit of variety. So that's the Ned Rig this morning picking up grunter. You can hear that guy. Ned Rig picking up grunter, brim and flatties. 10 times tough elastic plastic. We can just spin it back around again and it's ready to go. That's already caught a bunch of fish today on that single plastic, so good times. Throw one up in the shallows, catch that small flatty. That better? It's a bit better, I think, eh? No, I did creep you over closer because I thought the bank was kind of moving over. And I ended up putting you on the beach. Sabotage. Yep, there's a little tacker. Pretty much said I'd get a little fella up there. There he is. The little fellas are up on that shallow edge, hey? Yeah, they're pushing up. Big fella's sitting in that drain a bit more. Hopefully, another big fella. I've chewed my leader up a bit today. I've had to change my leader a bunch of times. Just getting it in the gob enough to cause me grief. Little tacker, yeah, I've been changing it each time. So you can see that leader's roughed up again from that fish, so I'll quickly just take a little piece of that leader off and retie. Yeah, those fish will be travelling right along that edge there. Moving them with the flow. There's a tap. Little fella. Yeah, where there's smoke there's fire. Where these little guys are feeding, there's surely a bigger one. Oh, settle down, buddy. They can't resist that Ned Rig bouncing back in with the flow. We're just spot locked on the shallows here, fishing into a bit of a deeper drain here. Working our plastics back naturally with the flow. That prawn, don't know if you can see him there, a couple of twitches of that prawn. And then just let it settle on the bottom, stand upright on that Ned Rig head. Now you wanna...
Well,
oh, there's some bait. What are you doing? I'll get that one. Oh, he's just to the right there, whatever it is. Yep, there we go. There's a fish.
Oh, good.
Chasing that bait.
What is it?
Just a flat fish.
Is it?
Yeah. How's that though? Like, find the bait, find the fish. We just saw a little bit of bait pushing in there. Threw that cast straight to the bait. And this fish just drilled it. There he comes back around. Oh, come on, buddy. Just steer him into the net. Nice work, Dad. That's a nice flatty. Eating the Ned Rig. So he's on the... I'll just take him out of there, beauty. Thanks, mate. There you go. That's another legal fish on that Ned Rig. As I was saying, we saw the bait, made the cast to the bait, boom, fish on. So always good to keep an eye out for the bait, because that's what these guys are in here chasing as that tide moves in. They're moving in along this bank here, and they're chasing prawns and bait fish and other food. So that's another nice little fish on the Ned Rig. We've had a good successful little session this morning. Alrighto folks, there we go. A great little session up fishing some drains and flats and that sort of thing. Dodgy tide, not a lot of run. They say no run, no fun, but the trick is slow things down. You know, fish nice and finessey, and you can still get those fish to bite. So we were fishing the Ned Rig system today. We fished a few different plastics until we cracked a pattern, and it was the ZMan 2.5 inch prawns today in opening night colour that got the bulk of the bites. I was fishing it on a 1/10 and Dad on a 1/5 ounce in that #1 TT NedlockZ jighead. So that was the Ned Rig system, shaking it, dragging it, hopping it on the bottom, enticing those fish to bite. So we've got a dozen or more flatties and a brim and a grunter. But you know, we've got a bunch of small ones, but we've got a couple right on 40, a couple of that sort of mid 40s, a 54, and then of course a 57 for this bloke over here. So he didn't get the numbers today, but he got the big fish. So pretty stoked with that. Great times on the water, fishing that Ned Rig system. If you're finding the bite tough, give it a crack. All the best with the fishing. Cheers.